David here? I didn't see his car. Oh. Well, he didn't communicate effectively.
Did he not?
Huh?
Did he not?
No, because he led me to believe that he would send me another text letting me know, I hope I'm okay in the morning, but I can't even bend over. Yes, I can, but do you know what I mean? I hope I'm okay in the morning. But he didn't shoot me a text saying I'm not. Or I would have brought my, like,
Whatever.
it's what we used to do.
It'll be what it'll be.
Beautiful. We'll have a lovely time.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom. Good morning.
A little late, isn't it? People think it's at 9 today?
so complicated.
Oh, yeah, because
It's so complicated because of the B'nai Mitzvah. What we can do in a year or two, or maybe in a year, is we can move the whole B'nai Mitzvah schedule, which we might do. And because if the B'nai Mitzvah starts at 10:30,
right.
then we're fine. The other option is that it's different all the time, but I think that's a terrible idea.
Terrible idea, right.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
terrible
it
idea.
is a terrible, right.
I think it's a terrible idea. So, I mean, we're still trying to calculate it,
Mhm.
and we set everything up,
Okay,
but
we'll see. Guess I'm up.
Yeah, it's not so bad once you sort of, you accept it.
You just move yourself a little faster. I was gonna wash my hair, but I said, no, there's no time today.
Hi, good, how are you?
Hello.
It works.
One, two, three. Test, 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 test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, 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 test. 1, 2, 3. Very low. Test, test.
I'm in Susie's seat.
1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Test, test.
I don't know, this song thinking in my head all the time. Shabbat shalom. Welcome back. I heard a voice. Was that Rabbi's voice?
Yeah. He's in the closet. I keep trying to get him to come out of the closet.
Well, welcome back, Robin.
Thank you.
How was you?
Amazing.
You were
In
wedding,
New
right?
Hampshire, yes.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. It couldn't have been more perfect.
You were in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Oh my God, this is the best time.
Yes, it certainly was.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I did not want to
This
come
is-
back.
Autumn is the season I miss the most.
Of course. So great.
Because, I mean, we have somewhat of a spring, not much, but.
What part of New Hampshire?
I was in the Manchester, Laconia area.
Okay,
By
I went
Lake-
to Franconia.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was an inn there, beautiful in Bittersville.
again, small world.
Yeah.
Wow, look at all the women here.
Test, test. 1, 2. Why is this so low? System. The system. Is this better? The system is so low. No? Test, test. 1, 2. Test, test, test. For the Yenshuf. I know. The Yenshuf. It's a new computer.
Oh, it's a new computer.
Well, it's not a new computer. It's new to try this. Let's see how it goes. Test. I don't know. Let's see.
Is the live stream on? Are you doing that?
Hi. How's everyone doing? Great. Good. Let's see if put this. I'm doing okay. Thank you. No, I should have slept here. It would have been a lot better if I slept here. I think probably, but no, I slept a little, and then I came back. It's nice. It's good. All right. Yeah. It's nice. We're a little short, minion short, aren't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need 2 more. Maybe 2 more will show up. So until then, we'll do a little slightly modified service until.
We'll do it.
You can as the 10th if you have 9. Yeah, and then you have to, then you have to stand the whole time. It's true. Then you have to stand the whole time because the ark's going to be open. So yeah, but then you can count. Yes, but then you can count the Torah as the 10th. And you can't, even if we were very blessed with several Torahs, you can't count each Torah as a person. So you can count the Torah as the 10th. You can't count like, oh, let's go grab the other 5 from the other section of the. So no, you can't do that. No, it doesn't work that way. No. I do. Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, I mean that's yeah. We're close too, so. Well, there'll be a bunch of stuff that we can do, so we'll be fine. There's a lot of stuff that we can do. We can't do any Kaddishes, so no Chatzi Kaddish, no Mourner's Kaddish. Can't do Baruch Hu. Can't do Torah. And silent Amidah. So we could do Aliyah, but it would be silent. So we could do all of that. We could still discuss the Torah. We could still do all that, but you can't chant Torah if there's no minyan. So, but hopefully by then, what's that? So fine, that's fine. And it's an Exodus. So because it's Chol Moed. So now we're good. Now we're good.
Thank goodness. Shabbat shalom, fellas.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. All right.
Thanks for joining us.
All right. Shabbat shalom. Hello. All right. It's nice.
One good thing about 8:30 on a Saturday morning is the traffic's very high.
That's true. That's nice. Good. See that? Let's begin with Modeh Ani on page 170.
Modeh ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechezarta bi nishmati bechemla, Rabba emunatecha, Modeh ani lefanayach, melech chai v'kayam, shechezarta bi nishmati bechemla, Rabba emunatecha.
We continue with our Nisim B'chol Yom, our daily blessings and miracles, which can be found on page 175.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasakvi v'naha lahavchin bein yom uvein laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin metzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layaev koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir sheina me'enai u'numa me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat chorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Amen. We continue now with Shochen Ad on page 192.
Shochen ad marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim baronai l'sharim nevat tehila b'fi sharim titalal uv'divrei tzadikim titbarach uvilshon chasidim titromam uvekerev kadoshim titkadash uv'machalot revivot amcha beit Yisrael brina yitpa'ar shimcha malkeinu b'chol dor v'dor. Yishtabach shimcha la'ad malkeinu ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol v'ha'kadosh b'shamayim u'va'aretz baruch atah Adonai el melech gadol v'tishbachot el ha'oda'ot adon ha'nifla'ot ha'bocher b'shirei zimra melech el chei ha'olamim. Page 194. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabban B'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayir chol beit Yisrael B'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen Yahei shmei rabban mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpahar v'yitramah v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekodesha
Brechu
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran
be'alma v'imru. Amen. We continue with the Baruch Hu, page 195, and together we stand.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or v'choshech oseh shalom uvoreh et hakol. Please be seated. (199) We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose. Continue with Shema, page 200.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu
Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
202.
ויאמר אדוני
אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף תחיל תכלת. והיה לכם לציצית, וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue with our song of redemption, Mi Chamocha, page 204.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי
כמוך
כמוך
נדע בקודש.
נורא
תהילות, אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות.
אוסף אלה, שירה חרישה, שיבחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמלכו ואמרו,
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
צור ישראל, קומה
בעזרת ישראל, עובדי חינומך, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל.
ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Continue with the Amidah, page 205.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehillatech. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומבדו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
Kedusha, page 208.
נקדש את שמך
בעולם,
כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך. וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם. אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue silently now here, beginning on page 210 through page 219. When you're finished, please be seated.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
We continue. It was fun. That was a fun Oseh Shalom. We continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service reading the Torah on Shabbat morning, 244.
Ein kamocha ve'Elohim Adonai, ve'en k'ma'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
Please stand.
Av harachamim heitiv avirtzoncha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Ki becha levad matachnu, melech elam v'nisa, adon olamim.
246.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai miYerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan
Torah, Torah,
le'amo Yisrael,
B'kedushato.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu,
Gadol Adonenu,
Kadosh Shemo,
Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Please be seated.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Debating whether we should do Torah first. We'll chant Torah first. So, change this so that there's a better view. Okay. Anyone want to do the Aliyah for us on this Shabbat Chol Moed morning? All right. Come on up. Yeah. You're the winner. We are chanting from a special section today, so it's gonna involve you to look through some pages in your Torah book, since it is Chol Moed Sukkot, 250. 250 the Torah blessings, they're right there. Blessings are on 250 in your Siddur. The Torah portion this week is for Chol Moed Sukkot. It's in the book of Exodus, actually. So it's Exodus 33:12 is where we're going. Exodus 33:12, if you want to follow along with my not as great Torah chanting as Cantor Muchnick's or Robin Kudas. But this is a surprise. So I'm just going to get us through it. 33:12. Exodus 33:12 is where you're going. Chapter Exodus. I understand. It's confusing. So it's chapter, we're not studying. We're not going to study it. Yeah, this is just for Torah. So 33:12, chapter 33, verse 12. Exodus chapter 33, verse 12.
Want to know my name?
Yes.
Malchabat David.
Ta'amod Malchabat David לעלייה לתורה.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
אמן. ויאמר משה אל אדוני, ראה אתה אומר אלי האל את העם הזה, ואת לא הודעתי את אשר תשלח עמי, ואתה אמרת ידתך ושם, וגם מצאת חן בעיני. ואתה אמנה מצאתי חן בעיניך, הודעתי נא את אחיך והודתך למען אמצא חן בעיניך, וראה כי עמך הגוי הזה, ויאמר פניי ילכו והנחותי לך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam atah betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
אמן, אמן. יישר כוח, יישר כוח, יישר כוח, יישר כוח. That's your book. Yeah, good. You found it now? That's good. Anyone want to raise interest to Torah, since Muchnick's not here to show off on his columns? Anyone want to raise interest to Torah? Neil, you want to raise the Torah? You'll address it. Great. All right. Come on up. Ya'amdu amagbiya v'golel. 252, and together we stand. 252 and we stand.
Am I doing it? Wait.
That's right there.
But the prize, I want to show the crease, right?
Oh, you want to show? Yeah, you can show the crease.
So I don't. Wait.
There you go. That's good.
Okay. Spot it.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ויד משה. תורה, 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 תורה. Good job. ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Other way.
Torah, Torah,
תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, Torah. Good job, guys. Torah, Torah, tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Please be seated. Well done, everyone. It was a good team effort. Oh, you can turn those things off. Thank you. Well done. Round of applause. It's very impressive. Impressive dressing and raising and blessing. Thank you. It's very, very interactive today. I like it. Yeah, soon. Yeah, soon. What page for us to study? No page today. Oh. Well, we're going to do. Yeah, we can open the Zoom room. Yeah. Go to, up there, go to meetings. Hit meetings. Hit recurring. Hit that one. Start. And then it should kick in, and this should open up. And the owl should also kick in, God willing. And then just take away. Looks like the camera's off. Just turn the camera on. Turn the camera on. There's the owl. There's the owl. Okay, great. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Lyndon J. Good to see you.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hello, Shabbat Shalom. Hello. All right, good. Yay. Great. Nice. Excellent. Well, I guess there will be a page in a second. I guess there will be a page. So, all right. Let's see if my little plan works here. Leviticus 20. No, well, not yet. I'm sure you'll find one, Harry, but no, not yet. Let's see if I can get this. There's a lot more that I didn't read, and this is the Torah portion that Moses actually sees God, right? Because God says, you can see my presence like my back. And so God puts Moses into like a little cleft in the mountain, and then once he's in there, God passes by him and sees his back like God's presence hypothetically. And so this is the Torah portion because it's kind of fitting. It's kind of nice where we're just in the high holiday mode still, and we're feeling God's presence. And it's interesting that it's the back of God because, yeah. So this is the Panim El Panim too. This is the last three verses that I read. It was that you're gonna feel my presence. We're gonna have this face-to-face experience, but it's really gonna be my back. And why is it God's back? Is because no one can see my face and live, right? But also that by the time it gets to us, right, we're behind, right? God controls everything for us. So even what we might know is late to what God knows. So it's this beautiful concept that why this Torah portion is this week, because it sits right in the middle of the Shabbat between Sukkot that we just passed Rosh Hashanah, we just did Yom Kippur, and so it's a nice connection to have this. But we're not going to discuss that. We're going to go to, now I'm going to make you happy because there's going to be a page number, which I'm not going to give you. But it's going to be it's going to be Leviticus. So you can start to head to Leviticus. Everyone's excited for some page turning. Woo! Leviticus. So we're going to Leviticus. And we're going to Leviticus 23. So you're going to Leviticus 23. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 39. So Leviticus 23, verse 39 is where we're going. What's that? Yes, that's correct. I don't know why I hear page numbers. You don't. Mine. I'm on page 263. So I have the best book. I have the best book. Yeah. Did you? Is that what you got? Congratulations. Otherwise known as Mazel Tov. Nice. De nada, is that what you said? I think that's the right connection in the language. All right. So here we are. It's Sukkot. You're like writing a composition over there. Who are you talking to so much? Oh, nice. Linda and Jay. All right, nice. Hi, Linda and Jay. Man, they didn't respond. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is. All right, let's do our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. All right, now, so here we are. We're in the Torah portion, by the way. If you look at around, it's in the Torah portion of Emor, which we should not be in any. We're not near it at all, because nor will we be in the actual Torah portion. We're only looking at this one section. That's how these holidays work. If you did, however, look through Emor, what's interesting about Emor is that starting in chapter 23, which you don't have to go to, but starting in chapter 23, there'll be like little vignettes of all of the major holidays are all starting here on chapter 23. They cover all of them. This Torah portion has all the major holidays. So if you looked at 23, again, you don't have to. You can if you want to. It talks about Pesach. Then it goes into Shavuot. And then it goes into Rosh Hashanah. Then it falls into Sukkot. So it covers all the major holidays all at the end of Emor. And so I wanted to talk to you about this one section because it's Sukkot. Yay, Sukkot. Okay, so here we are. So I actually, instead of 39, I mean 33. Let's go to verse 33. So how it's not that's not that far away. So you're still in chapter 23. Now you're in verse 33. Are you on the same page? Probably. Yes. You probably are. All right, great. Okay, who wants to read? Do you want to hold the book for Linda, and then you can read for us? No. All right. Thank you, Amy. Nice. Okay, so there's a nice setup for what we know as Sukkot. There's the Feast of Booths. You shouldn't do work on these certain days. It's very nice. Okay, let's keep going. Now we're on 39.
Mark, on the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the yield of your land, you shall observe the festival of the Eternal to last 7 days, a complete rest on the first day, and a complete rest on the 8th day.
Okay, so do we do that, by the way? We do. So exactly it's what it says in the Torah, we follow, right? It says you should do it for 7 days, and the first day is a holy day, and the last day is a holy day, and we do it just like this. So the first day of Sukkot is a holiday, and the last day of Sukkot, which is on Monday, is a holiday. So and Yizkor. So we've attached. Yes.
How did that get built into that? Like, where does it say, and you shall remember? And
Oh, where does Yizkor come from? Oh, that's much later. Yeah, that's much later. So, okay, keep going, please.
On the first day, you shall take the product of dear trees, branches of palm trees, boughs of leafy trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the Eternal your God 7 days. You shall observe it as a festival of the Eternal for 7 days in the year. You shall observe it in the 7th month as a law for all time throughout the ages. You shall live in booths 7 days. All citizens in Israel shall live in booths, in order that future generations may know that I made the Israelite people live in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I, the Eternal your God. So Moses declared to the Israelites the set times of the Eternal.
Excellent. All right. So that's also, by the way, if you look at in 44, it says of Vaydaber Moshe et Moadei. There's the word Moed, and Moed means the fixed time. So if you've heard of Chol Moed, that's Moed is a fixed time. That's where the concept comes from. Okay. All right. Let's go back to 39 and 40 is where I want to what I actually want to talk about. Yes. Yeah. What's that? It's the 7th month. We're in the 7th month. Even though it was Rosh Hashanah takes place in the 7th month, which is peculiar because Judaism has 4 New Years. 4 different New Years. We in the secular world have 1 New Year. Judaism has 4 New Years. One of the New Years is Rosh Hashanah. So that's why we say Shana Tova. That's why we say to each other, Happy New Year. But it's actually in the 7th month. There are 4 times that we celebrate this. Right. So there's the one birthday, one New Year is Rosh Hashanah. The other New Year is Tu B'Shvat. That's the birthday of the trees. So that's another one. The third one is the 1st of Nisan, which is actually the 1st month, which is the month that houses Pesach. That's actually the 1st month of the year. And the 4th one's my favorite. It's the 1st of Elul, and that is the celebration and the New Year of the cattle. I can't make it up. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not making it up. It's real. Did you just moo? You just mooed. Thank you. And Robin just mooed. So I appreciate you mooing. That was necessary. It was. Yeah, you should go in the moist. That's nice. You should do it. Nice. Okay. Yes. So even though it's the 7th month, it's the New Year, because Rosh Hashanah is in the 7th month. Now, it's nice and confusing. Yes, nice and confusing. All right. So here it is. Let's look at verse 40. On the first day, you shall take the product of hadar trees, branches of palm trees, boughs of leafy trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. What is this? The lulav. Excellent. All right. So is everything accounted for in the lulav? Let's check. So as how many things are on? How many things make up the lulav? 3. Yes. Good. 3. And then there's a 4th object, which is the Etrog, good. All right, so those four things are often known as arbat aminim, or the four species. And let's see if we can check them all from the boxes in verse 40. All right, so on the first day, you shall take the product of, what's a hadar tree? What's a hadar tree? Yes, it's the citron. So this is the etrog. So this is the etrog. Nice. Okay. So from the hadar tree is the etrog, and then it says branches of palms. What's that? No. What's the palm? The lulav. The lulav itself, the big, tall, branchy thing. The lulav. Yes. Good. And then boughs of leafy trees. Boughs of leafy trees. Boughs of leafy trees. What's the leafy tree? The ones that shape like eyes. Good. Which one is it? Well, the willow is coming up next because it says willows, right? Because it says arvei nachal. So it's the myrtle. It has to be the myrtle. Yes. So those are your four species, but it's kind of not very clear, right? I mean, it's clear-ish. It's not completely clear. You have to have known this. We have to know already what they are in a way for us to go back and figure out what you have to know what they are to go and look at the text and be like, I can identify them all because I already know the etrog, I know the willow, I know the myrtle, and I know the palm, right? So it's a little confusing. So on the first day, you should take the product of the hadar trees, which we decided is the etrog, the branches of the palm tree, which we know for sure is the lulav, because it's a palm, the boughs of leafy trees, right, which we're identifying for our sake as the myrtles, and then the willows of the brook. And you're going to put them together, and then what? What does it say? Exactly. It says you should rejoice. It doesn't give you what direction or how do you put it together? Does it say anything like that here? So it's just telling you to gather it, right? It just is to gather it. So how do we know what to do? That you go to the store. So now I apologize for those on the live stream. I don't have paper for you because it's hard to get it through the machine. But those of us here, I have some papers for us to look at. Look at that. That's for you. I think that's enough for the row. If not, there should be enough for your row. It's definitely enough for your row. It's good. You get 1, 2. Should I give one to Harry? What do you think? Fine, all right. There's one for Harry. It's all right. Harry, you get one too. Everyone have? Everyone have? All right. So, what's this I just gave you? Well, what's this piece of paper though? Yes, good. But what's the source? It's the Mishnah. How do you know it's the Mishnah? It says so. Thank you very much. Excellent. So you should know by now that I'm going to give you the source text, and it's going to be very important that you know where it comes from. So I put for you that it's from the Mishnah. Excellent. What is the Mishnah? What is that? Aha. All right. So the Mishnah appears at around 200 CE. So the Torah/Bible, let's say, is redacted. We know the word redacted? Canonized. You know what canonized is? Redacted. pushed together, like made into a document. Probably somewhere between 100 and 100. So somewhere between 100 before 0 to 100 after 0. So in that 200-year period, probably, so the text probably exists even before that, right? But it becomes a document somewhere in those 100 years. Then in the next 100 years, or 200 years, depending on which spacing of the Bible you like, the rabbis didn't have a clue what they were like. What? So they just had the conversation that we had. Well, I don't know. Is the hadar the etrog? What's the leafy tree? Is that the myrtle? I don't know. So they started to talk, and they had a Torah discussion, just like we do. And they talked and they talked and they talked for 100 or 200 years, and they argued with each other, certain rabbis, and they finally decided this became known as the oral Torah. And then someone said, we should probably write it down because it's good stuff. And the oral Torah became the Mishnah. And so the Mishnah is commentary or conversation between the rabbis about trying to figure out a little more detail of what's going on from the Torah, because the Torah, maybe purposely or not purposely, doesn't give detail. There's a lot of broad, general, sort of brush strokes that exist for Torah, and so these are a little more of the details. Okay. Then, by the way, what's that for the Mishnah? Right. So the Talmud. So between 400 and 700, the Talmud's written, and the Talmud is the entire Mishnah and more commentary. So the Talmud is made up of the Mishnah and the Gemara. The Mishnah is the Mishnah, and the Gemara is the commentary on the Mishnah. Was given a name. It was called the Gemara, and the Mishnah were smushed together, and that's the Talmud. So the Talmud has two parts. Yes, Ron?
Rabbi, I love your concept of before 0 and after 0.
Yes.
Rather than BY or BC.
Correct.
Before Yoshua or before Christ.
Right.
And I think we should name it, or it should be named by you as BZ rather than BC.
Yes, it's BCE actually. So before the Common Era. So actually, most theologians, even Christian ones, definitely most archaeologists, no longer count the time period or use Christ in it, because it's more of an archaeological finding, and so most times it's really BCE. It's usually BCE or before the Common Era, or just use time stamps like 0, because it used to be BC and AD, right? So that's how it used to be, and it's no longer like that. All right. So now that we've done this, now that we've sort of introed the conversation, here is a piece of Mishnah. So it's in the Mishnah. What chapter is it in?
3.
Good job. And what verse is it in? Excelente, because it's written. Excellent. So it's Mishnah, chapter 3, verse 4. I did not put the citation, which I should have, because the Mishnah is made up of 6 different books. This is in the book of Moed, which means holidays. So it's in the holiday book. So I did not write that on here, but one could gather, because it is about a holiday, it has to be in the holiday book. So we've heard of the ethics of our fathers. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of that? So that also comes from the Mishnah. So, all right. Who wants to read a little bit? Do you want to keep reading, Amy? Oh, no? All right, great. Okay, go ahead. Yes, please. Woohoo! Yay, in a Persian picture. Yes, keep going. You're doing great. All right, what is going on? What is this whole situation here? They're trying to clarify. Yeah.
Also let you know whether or not it's kosher, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Products are usable.
How many rabbis are talking, by the way? How many rabbis are in this mix? How many? And Ishmael, right. All right, so who is leading the discussion?
You have a Beit Din there.
We have a Beit Din of 3 rabbis, exactly. Who's leading the conversation? Rabbi Ishmael, because Rabbi Ishmael says, and I'll read this for the benefit of the live stream crew. Oh, you have the text? Oh, did you put it into the screen? Oh, nice job. Very smart. You're very smart, Robin. Very nice. All right, so Rabbi Ishmael says that the mitzvah of the 4 species, which are the arba minim, which we know are what? The lulav. You have to shake the lulav. And so, is it a suggestion, or does we have to do it? Why do we have to do it? How do we know it's a mitzvah? It says it. It says it also right here, because it's called the mitzvah of the 4 species, right? So it says to take 3 myrtle branches, right, and 2 willow branches. So now they're a little more identified. It's clearer than the Torah told us, right? It's literally telling us exactly what it is, right? So you're going to take 3 myrtle branches. You're going to take 2 willow branches. You're going to take 1 lulav, which is the palm, and the etrog, which is the citron fruit. Okay. With regard to the myrtle branches, even if the tops of the 2 are severed and the top of 1 is not severed, it is fit. This is what who is saying. Whose statement is this? Ishmael. All right, so what is he saying about these branches? What's his take on them? Okay. So pretty much he's saying that which ones can be severed? With regard to the myrtle branches, right? So just the myrtle. What about the willow? Does it say anything about the willow? He does not, right? So he's only concerned about the myrtle. Why? By the way, this is what Mishnah and Talmud study feels like. Every word, like why? I don't understand. Why does he think that way? Like you have to put on it's all like detective work. It's constantly sitting and trying to decipher this information. And why? Why are they doing this?
Why are they doing the whole thing, or why just the myrtle?
No, why are they engaged in this ridiculous, very specific magnifying glass conversation? Exactly. No, but also why? What are they nervous about? Right, they're nervous about not doing it right. Right, they're nervous about not engaging in this mitzvah correctly. It's terrifying. So we have to clarify. I'm going to talk it through with you. You're going to tell me you agree with me. You're not going to agree with me. Yeah. Right? Why these things? I know. Well, okay, so the easy response is the Torah says so. I mean, the Torah goes out of its way, right? I mean, the Torah doesn't waste ink. So the Torah went out of its way to give us a whole verse on exactly which trees we have to use to do this, that's what it says. So here's my guess. My guess is those were probably findable. Those were there probably. You were probably able to find it in some brook or some system. Those were probably the ones that you were available to track. Probably. I mean, I would say that's the more reformed view on it. The traditional view is it says so. That's the answer. That's the traditional view is these are the ones that were chosen. Now, in a minute, I'll give you a better answer that you'll like better, and that because the Kabbalah comes into it, because now mysticism will play with why those things were chosen. But let's do that in a minute. So yes. But the text doesn't give us the answer, by the way. The mysticism has to come back later and play with it. So it's not written necessarily. But everyone had the questions like you did for years and years and years and years and years. And so they come up with what they think is a good response, which we'll talk about in a minute. So maybe the myrtle is a little more fragile. Okay, interesting. Have you held a lulav or an etrog before? A lulav and an etrog before? They're actually pretty well constructed. So it's actually not. I mean, it's like if you hold it in your hand and go like this, it breaks very easily. But you have to really pull the thing out of the way that it's put in. You really have to go out of your way to you have to really go out of your way to break it. Unless you drop it or unless whatever, but it's easily breakable. It's not like you have to like strain to break it, but it's really hard, it's really difficult to go out of your way to break it. So yeah. 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 Yeah, because they wanted you to participate in the mitzvah. You obviously weren't carrying a lulav, so you weren't able to do it yourself. But because you're Jewish, they presume that you must fulfill the mitzvah. So they helped to do the mitzvah for you because it was partially for you and also partially for them, because they had to know that you fulfilled the mitzvah. Yeah. For sure, they have to protect it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because you obviously, so if you were not Jewish, they would have left you alone because they don't care. But if you're Jewish, they presume you must fulfill the mitzvah because you're Jewish. I don't know. Maybe you stopped and looked. Maybe you stopped for a second. Maybe you noticed something. Okay, so maybe you looked. So their presumption was, so they were either going to ask you if you're Jewish, you would have said no, and they would have been like, okay, bye, get out of here. But if you're Jewish, you must have maybe known what it was, hypothetically, in their mind. And then they were like, well, then if you're Jewish, for us, they thought you had to fulfill the mitzvah. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And by the way, if you live anywhere near the Eruv, you'll see Jews walking all day, every day. So I live on the west side, and part of my drive, because I'm Reform, right, is to drive past the Chabad, and you always see the Chabad. You know what holiday it is just by walking by the Chabad, and all of the guys are walking around in a case, and with a special case, because you treat that lulav like it's gold. First of all, it's not cheap. And second of all, you have to treat it with a lot of respect, because you have to shake that thing for a week. So you have to make sure that it's really intact, it's really put together, it's really safe. You should see, I think I said this last night just for a minute in a conversation about Sukkot. If you ever can go to Israel over Sukkot, if you ever have the chance to go to Israel over Sukkot, it's astounding that little marketplaces pop up all over the country that are selling, particularly before Sukkot, lulav and etrog, all the pieces individually. There's a whole section of myrtles. There's a whole section of willows. There's a whole section of etrogim. There's a whole section of palms. And all you see is mostly Orthodox, literally like picking up like one palm, like checking, like, okay, I'm going to take that because I'm going to take that for one palm. I'm going to take this for the second palm. And they literally examine each piece. The etrog, forget it. The etrog, smell it, turn it, look at it, smell it, look at it, feel the shape, feel the size, It's amazing. If you want to see a great movie, by the way, and you can access it, it's called Ushpizin. If you can it won a billion international awards from all. It's possible. It's possible. I think you can find it. I think it exists. I think it's streaming somewhere. So it's called Ushpizin. It's in Hebrew, but it has subtitles. And you'll see these scenes, because it's leading up to Sukkot, of the love and affection and care that people go through. And the story is about a guy who, like, there's an etrog that calls to him. He's like, oh my God. It's like he thinks it's like the most beautiful etrog in the whole world. And he's like, I must have it. So whatever, it's part of the movie. But yeah, it's this unbelievable love and care for these items to be able to experience. Yeah.
And do they also sell the cane piece that they fit in?
Yeah, sure, of course, for sure. So probably each person has their own system, but they definitely sell the holder so that it all is smushed together really nicely. And of course, the myrtle has to go on the right, and the willow goes on the left of the lulav. So you have to arrange it you have to shake it perfectly. So it's an unbelievable amount of energy and work goes into it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, not yet. Yeah, I'll get there. I promise I'll get there. All right. So, yeah. Yeah, Linda and Jay.
This time it's Jay.
Okay, Jay.
Is there anything written about how robustly you should be shaking the lulav?
Oh, that's interesting. I believe there is commentary on it, but you shouldn't do it lightly. You shouldn't be nervous about it because it should stay together. So you shouldn't be timid. That's the word. You shouldn't be timid in the shake. You should really like be able to like get the shake on for it. Yeah, for sure. It's a great question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So, okay. Lulav. Two species have their tips subvert. All right. Where are we? I have two different pages here, which I'm looking. Give me one more second. It's still before Tarfon. All right. So it says, I'm still in the little paper. It says, with regard to the myrtle branches, even if the tops of two are severed and the top is not severed, it is fit. What does it is fit mean? Yeah, it's valid, right? So what does it mean is valid? Does it mean when it says it is valid, what is it referring to? The whole object is still valid, it's saying. Not just the one branch, because there's damage to one branch, right? But it's saying it's still, the whole object is still valid. You can still wave it. And it's kosher. You're still fulfilling the mitzvah. Exactly. All right. So now, what is Tarfon saying? So Tarfon says what?
Even if all three are severed, it's fit.
So what's that?
Each one of the species, or just back to the myrtle?
Okay, so even if the tops of all three are severed, it is fit. So what does that mean? So are we still talking about the myrtle? It says if the top of all three are severed. So we're still talking about the myrtle, yes? Because one of the leaves has three, and one of the leaves has two. So which one has two and which one has three? The willow has two, and the myrtle has three. How do you know this, by the way? It says so in the Mishnah. Right, so excellent. So the Mishnah tells you. So now we're still talking about the myrtle. It has to be. Why does it have to be the myrtle? Because it says the three, exactly. You have to think, this is how the rabbis are talking and thinking. This is why Mishnah study is the most delicious thing you could possibly do. Because it is just picking apart all the details, and that's why if I could pick anything to study, it's the Mishnah. If you just sat me in front of a Mishnah, I love it so much. The Talmud is so difficult to get through. Also amazing, but the Talmud is so complicated. But the Mishnah is this delicious, really great conversation piece that you can push. Every single word is like a question. Okay. Take a Mishnah class. I would do a Mishnah class. We could cover a little section of Mishnah maybe once in a class. All right. So it says Tarfon says if the three of them are severed. Now, why does Tarfon get to say this? Is Tarfon right? Now he's arguing or they're discussing with Ishmael. So what is Ishmael saying versus Tarfon? Right. So Tarfon says even if the tops of all three are severed, it is fit. And by the way, I'm going to tell you that the agreement goes with him, meaning he's correct. So you can, yes. So even if three are severed, even if the tops of all three are severed, of the myrtle, you can still use it. It's valid. Okay. Phew. Now let's go to Akiva. What's Akiva saying? Okay. So, interesting. Now, he says, with regard to the number of each in the species, just as there is one lulav and one etrog, so too there is one myrtle branch and one willow. So does that mean severed or unsevered, or what does that mean? What is he saying? He doesn't, but what do you think it means? Interesting. So maybe there's a lessening of the requirement according to who?
Well, first of all,
Okay.
it doesn't matter two or if three of them are seven. So the first guy says, it's okay if two are seven.
Okay.
The second guy says it's okay if three are seven. You're getting more liberal. And suddenly, it doesn't matter how many. You can have one, and you're fit.
Okay. All right. So, well said. And so Akiva usually shows up, yes? Marcia.
Yeah, something makes me feel like the lulav represents the person. And not her. Everybody has some faults here and there. That feeling.
Interesting. All right. So tell me if it's the lulav is the person. Go on a little bit.
In the holidays, and we want to be blessed, and we want to be religious, but we all have faults. And will God take us back even though we have a fault?
Interesting.
It's a feeling.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the answer is yes, and that's also going to be part of the response that Harry's going to like in a few minutes. So, all right, good. Yes. Yeah. 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 Nice. Excellent. Yes. Yes. You do, because you're close to you're close to what they want to say here. Yeah. Very good. Yes. Oh, very nice. Okay. Also, so you're also very close on this whole whole thing. Nice. Okay. Good. All right. Good. So here's what the responses are to this, right? Because they make these statements, and then decisions are made ultimately on whether we follow them or not. Because rabbis are going to argue all the time, and if you know the rabbis, at the end usually of an argument, it says, and the halacha goes with blank. Like the ruling goes with this rabbi. So here is essentially what the breakdown is, and it's not the best answer because you're not going to love it, but which is this, that you really need all of them. You really need all of them. They all have to function. Akiva just comes in at the last minute, like he usually does, by the way, to try and throw a wrench in the plan and see what's going on. Ultimately, what they're saying is, in an emergency, you can use the single ones or the broken ones or all of that. So you can use it, but only in emergency. So what's an emergency? Exactly. Better to attempt to fulfill the mitzvah as best as you can, even with the ones that are broken, than not to. So just the attempt is very good at doing this, and of shaking all of these objects. So now the question is, let's go to the meta question, right, of why these objects, what it comes from. So first of all, you may know this already, but there are thoughts, and thank you, Marcia, a connection to what you're saying, Harry, right, is that all of these objects represent parts of our body, according to different text, right? So let's start there. So first of all, the lulav itself is the spine, is your backbone. So it keeps you upright, it keeps you straight, meaning straight in the world, straight who you are, straight where you come from. It keeps you upright, right? Then you have the etrog, which is your heart. Looks like your heart. That's because a nice sort of roundish, fattish fruit that has its cool, different shape. Looks like a heart, right? Then you have the willow, which represents the lips. Very good. It represents your lips. And then the myrtle represents your eyes. So this all comes from this mystic concept that our bodies are connected to all these objects. Why were they chosen? Because they all represent all of these things of us, and that it is just after the high holidays, right? And we're still actually in Tishrei, we're still in this month of the high holidays, and we still have to remind ourselves that we're a mess. And our heart has to be in the right place. We stood there, we fasted, we beat our chests, but really, Yom Kippur is over. Did we already start to falter and go back to our mess? Are our hearts really working like they should be? Our spines, our backbones. Are we carrying ourselves like we said that we would? Are we moving ourselves in the direction that we promised that we would? Are we seeing things in the old way that we saw things, right? Have we not changed our ways? Do we look at people and we judge them? Do we look at a situation and judge it, right? And then speaking is the worst, right? Are we still spewing the horrible stuff that we say, right? The lashon hara. Like, are we still doing it? Even though we said we were not going to do it, and we're really great, and I'm beating, right? So that's one view of it. Then the next level of it is this. So we don't do it in the Reform movement, but there's something called Hoshana Rabbah. So Hoshana, what's a Hoshana? Hoshana is this like request from God, and we are actually going to do at Simchat Torah here on Sunday night. We're going to do 7 circuits with the Torah, and before each circuit, we're going to say Ana Adonai Hoshiana from this siyah, like please God, like take care of us. We're gonna do these Hoshanot. We don't do Hoshana Rabbah. The movement just plucked it out. So it makes it a 7-day holiday and not an 8-day holiday, and Reform Jews like the shorter holiday. So we don't do Hoshana Rabbah. On Hoshana Rabbah, though, at night is when we do Erev Simchat Torah, with the Torah. So we're still within the vicinity. It's good. What happens on Hoshana Rabbah, though? So yes. So, by the way, the sealing really starts to happen around Hoshana Rabbah. It's your last chance, really. Hoshana Rabbah is your last shot at the redemption. And what's also nice about Hoshana Rabbah is if you would go to the Orthodox synagogues, all your buddies who surrounded you with the lulavim would all, by this time, by the way, they've shaken the thing to death. They've schlepped it. If they've traveled with it, it's been schlepped with, it's been in that bag, it's opened the bag, the leaves are falling apart, it might have broken a little bit, it's beat up a little, right? And so on the last day, on Hoshana Rabbah, when you go to the shul, it's traditional actually to take out from your lulav, you're supposed to take out one of the leaves. Which leaves come out? The willow. The willow comes out, and you're supposed to take the willows during the service, and you're supposed to smack the willows on the side of tables or the side of your chair, and you're supposed to smack them. And you're supposed to maybe get all those leaves off because it's the last really day of Sukkot anyway. Why is that? Because, this is to tie into this big Kabbalistic thing, is that each of the pieces of the lulav and etrog not only have the lips and the eyes and all that stuff, but they have to be paired together. So the etrog looks beautiful and smells beautiful, right? The lulav itself, I forget the quality of the lulav, but I know that the myrtle, for instance, has a smell because the myrtle can be the basis of perfume. But the willow itself has no smell, has no taste, it has no part of sense. And so you're supposed to smack that because it's the last chance we have to wake us up. It's like the most dull of the things that are on the lulav. And it's supposed to just get us going because it's your last shot, because it's Hoshana Rabbah. So why these items? The answer is, it says so, but also because they each represent something so deeply, not only about our minds and our bodies and what we're doing and how we're affected, but also that each of them has to connect to the other one because you need the other one. All four species have to be put together. That's also why you have to hold them together and shake them. You can't hold this one over here and this one over here. You have to put it all together because they all function only when they're together. So why these things? Because of that. You might not like that response. And the last thing, by the way, and then I'll stop talking, is if you have a chance to go to a website called Kveller, Kveller. It's like I'm kvelling, like, oh my goodness, what a great day, I'm kvelling. Kveller.com is a great Jewish site. There is often a famous actress. She also is currently the host of Jeopardy, named Mayim Bialik. If you watch Jeopardy, you love Mayim Bialik, right? I would love for her to be on our speaker series and have her to come speak. But Mayim Bialik explains Sukkot in a little video on Kveller.com. It's about a 60-second video, and she explains the whole thing. And she does it in a great way, because she's like 20 or 30 years old, so she's very hip, and she explains it. She's trying to, I think, explain it to people who are clueless on, like, what? You Jews do what? You get a bunch of branches and you spin them around? Like, what, are you crazy? Right? So I think that she does this, she does that, like, we're not crazy, let me explain to you. And she does like a 60-second video. If you have a chance to watch it, it's brilliant. She's adorable, and it's brilliant, and the whole thing is just great. And the last thing she says is, in her video, is, why do we do all of this? Like, why do we get the branches? Why do we build the sukkah? Why do we dwell outside? Why do we subject ourselves to the elements? Why do we build it? It's because it reminds us, just after Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, of the level of our frailty. That which everything is temporary, right? Everything. Like we ask so much of God all the time, and everything is so temporary, right? So we ask for our lives for another year, and then you go spend a week in this temporary dwelling that you're subject to rain or cold or whatever else is going on. It moves with a gust of wind. You wave these things that we're living that are not anymore, that are frail, that can break so easily. Look, the Mishnah goes into what happens if the little thing breaks, right? So it's this frailty that exists, and she talks about how we have to appreciate that there's so much frailty in our lives, and that we have to take that into our hearts, in our minds, into our lips, in all these parts of our bodies, and realize that we're so frail, and that's how we should start the year, actually. And that's, by the way, incredibly, this is the happiest holiday of the whole year, because we should be so happy. Oh my gosh, how happy are we that we're here, that we get to do this, that we get to celebrate together, even though we have tourists. Everyone has tourists, but still, right? Yeah.
Why do you shake it? And is there, because these objects are so sacred, is there a ritual way to dispose of the items?
Oh, nice. So not really. I mean, because ultimately they're biodegradable. Yeah. So a lot of people after Sukkot, by the way, I've never had it before, but I hear that etrog jelly or jam is incredible. As someone who knows how to make a jam, which is not me, but if someone who knows how to make a jam, apparently it's a delicious jam. So, or a jelly or some kind. So one can eat it. Yes. Gail, yes.
Yeah, isn't besides the frailty, the joy is the gratitude.
Yes.
Regardless of what happened this year, we need to be grateful.
Absolutely, absolutely. And all these people were farmers, by the way. So don't forget that the whole other piece of this is the harvest. Everything is based on the harvest. If you don't have the harvest, then you have nothing. So because everyone was a farmer. So this is also why you have branches and you live in a outdoor area, so you can look up at the sky and pray for rain, right? And look at the stars and pray for the rain, because you want the rain to start. I mentioned this last night. Not only do we want the rain, we want the rain to start exactly when we want it to start, which is right when Sukkot ends, because we're in the sukkah. I don't want it to rain when I'm in my sukkah. I want it to rain exactly when I'm not in my sukkah. So yeah, yes. Someone else?
Actually, it was me. To
No.
Amy's question, which was, we know what to use. Where's the piece that tells us about how to shake it around and what?
Yes. So it also is in text. It says exactly in the text how you shake it. Yes. It tells you. The Talmud, I believe the Talmud tells you exactly. So there's a whole section in the Talmud. It's called Sukkot, and it tells you exactly how to do it. Yeah. And it tells you, and there's a way to do it. You're supposed to face east. When you face east, and then you go forward with it, and then you go to the right, which is what? If you're facing east, then you go to the right. What's that? South. Yeah, you go south. Then you go back, which is what? West. Then you go north. Then you go up, and then you go down. Yeah.
So the sukkah also reminds us that how temporary our lives are.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our lives are temporary. That thing is so frail. If there's a gust of wind, you feel it. If there's rain, you feel it. If it's cold, you feel it. Like it's a completely temporary dwelling. So absolutely. And yet, with all of this, it's still Zman Simchatenu. It is the time of our joy. We are instructed to be joyous and happy and celebrate Sukkot. So you should come and dance with the Torahs with us. It's going to be really fabulous. It is just, can you, and by the way, The Mishnah has its own section of just Sukkot. And then the Talmud has a whole tractate on just Sukkot. Because the rabbis went on asking about, well, what if this happens to this one? What if this happens to that, to the myrtle? What happens to that? What if I lose it? What if it's stolen? What if there's a whole thing about stolen ones? That if you find, that if you steal one or a stolen one, there's literally in the Mishnah, and it goes through each of the 4 items. If the myrtle is stolen, that's one whole conversation. If the willow is stolen, a whole section. If your etrog is stolen, all of this is, it just...
Doesn't it just say replace it?
No. No. It also says that if you find it. Also it says if you find it. What do you do if you find it? What's that? Yeah. All right. With the Torah in front of us, still we think of those in our community who are in need of healing, of physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. If you are thinking of someone and you would like to share their name, please share their name at this time.
Leslie Winthrop, Elaine Minor, Andrew Black. Ethel Kapner, Gail Gibson, Gerard family, Stu Fruman, Santankus, Kantankus, Lawrence May, all those affected by the war in Ukraine, hate crimes and violence.
משבח אבותינו ואמותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, וברך את החולים. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם ולפותם ולהחזיקם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. השתה בגליו זמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, as together we say, Amen. We're going to return the Torah to the Ark. 256, and together we stand. 256, and together we stand.
כי לך טוב נתתי לכם תורתי, אל תעזבו, חיים היא, למה חזיקים בה, ותומכיה מאושר, דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו כקדם. I know the Torah was tired, wanted to go to sleep earlier, to stay open a little bit longer. Yeah, premature closing. Please be seated. Our announcements are that Sunday evening at 5:30 is going to be Erev Simchat Torah. Please come. It's going to be really fun. There's going to be pizza for everybody. There are going to be libations for everybody. And good libations. The clergy will be pouring very nice libations, so please join us. We're going to dance with the Torah. There's going to be 7 different hakafot, so please join us. We're going to pull out all of our Torahs to dance and sing with them, all 7 Torahs, so people will have a chance to go through all the hakafot. Should be really nice. And then on Monday morning at 10 o'clock, we're going to be back in here. And we're going to do last day Sukkot / Atzeret, Simchat Torah, including Yizkor. That's at 10. And then all the programming starts.
So there's going to be a million things that are starting. So we have lots of cool programs. And save the date. Come. It's going to be really, really fun. It's to our auction, the synagogue auction, and it's a great evening. It's called a homecoming. We're calling a homecoming. It's like a homecoming theme, an auction, and there'll be heavy hors d'oeuvres, and this is all by Neil, our caterer. Obviously, an open bar and all that stuff too. So it's a great evening. It's on the 3rd of November. It's a Thursday evening, so come hang out. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm not sure what to wear because it's jersey. No, yeah, because it's like, and it's also, but you have to dress up though. It's like a dress up. I don't know. I was going to wear my. That's fine. I was going to wear my prom dress. Is that weird? Great, of course, obviously, yeah. So I don't know. I'll come up maybe with a jersey. I'll come with a jersey and say, yeah, fine. That's great. That's great. And then there are a lot of other, like I said, a lot of great different programs coming up that we will have for us soon. Okay. Let's begin to conclude our service. Aleinu is on 282, and together we stand.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, v'nemar, v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
As we transition now to Kaddish Yatom, we think of Brian Kogan and Joan Dubov in the period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, and our yortzites that occur for us this week: Louis Bergman, Hannah Feig, Stephen Geffen, Stanley Harris, Hannah Holtzman, Sam Kozak, Dana Levine, Richard Levine, Edward Levy, Anita Lipson, Betty Mickler, Fan Polar, Gertrude Ryder, Howard Riegelhaupt, Martin Shane, Harry Silvers, Robert Singer, Lee Stern, Helen Troy, Jerome Turk, Bernard Weissman. To those names, we had any that you would like to add? Kaddish Yatom 294. Yitkadal v'yikadash me rabba, b'alma divra chirute v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shme rabba mevorach le'olam ulmei almaya, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. היי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, as together we say, Amen. Please be seated. We're going to conclude today with, I get to pick. Let's do Adon Olam. I like Adon Olam. Adon Olam is fun. אשר מלך, אשר מלך, בטרם כל, יציר נברא,
ליאת נשא בחפצו כל.
אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם. 321 by the way. 321.
ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא אדון עולם. והוא היה, והוא הווה,
והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם, אשר מלך. בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל. אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם,
והוא
אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה אדון עולם, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוץ והמשרה אדון עולם, אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל. אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי בעת צרה אדון עולם, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא אדון עולם, אשר מלך.
בטרם
כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל. אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם, בידו אפקיד רוחי, בעת תישן ואעירה אדון עולם, ואם רוחי גוויעתי, אדון לי ולא אירא אדון עולם, אשר מלך. בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל. אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם. Adonai oz lamo iten, Adonai varech et amo v'shalom, and God to give strength unto our people, continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom. Special
shalom.
thanks, Robin. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Ron, Sherry, Gail, Marcia.